I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Who are you?
Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another review. This is a review for John, the Zero Cool. They do so much for that, for pledging to my Patreon. Thank you to everyone who has done that. If anyone wants to request pretty much any type of video or review, movie topic, whatever, it doesn't even have to be movie topic, just whatever. You'd either request it directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And John wanted my thoughts on the pilot to the X-Files, which is fine with me because I love the X-Files, except the last two seasons, the revival, and then the second movie. I want to believe it's a good movie, but it's not. But the X-Files, I can remember the first one I saw. Did not have Fox. We only had ABC, CBS, two versions of CBS and PBS. But my aunt, Jane, would send the family a bunch of videotapes of stuff that she had taped off cable. And it'd be like wrestling or Simpsons or X-Files or all sorts of stuff. And the first episode I saw was Darkness Falls. It was a season 1 episode where Mulder and Scully went into the woods and they found these people in cocoons and trees, and you found out it was these tiny little bugs that would infest you, wrap you up in a cocoon in a tree, and then slowly suck you dry, to be honest, and not in the fun way. And I remember, like, after okay, what is this? Just being a fan of horror films and things of that nature. What is the show? Then it wasn't until years later when we did get cable and would watch X-Files on repeat, what they call syndication. Then I found all the other episodes, including the pilot. And I thought for a pilot, this worked out well. I could see why after the pilot, people were like, okay, this could be a thing. Because it's a pilot, it doesn't have the opening famous credit scene and music. But it introduces Fox Mulder, who's this FBI agent who's very smart, but people look down on him because he's doing this weird thing where he's looking through these files pretty much in the basement of the FBI, the unexplainable called the X-Files. And then Dana Scully, she's hired to assist or truthfully spy on him and for a scientific analysis. And even from the pilot, you saw the chemistry between these two people. And the plot of the episode is a girl gets abducted and is found with marks, and there's other people that's been found dead with these marks. What's going on? The cigarette smoking man appears. No dialogue, but he does appear near the beginning and especially at the end of the episode, where you really get noted about the you don't trust the government because they'll fuck you over type of thing. And I've always enjoyed at least the first 9 seasons of the show. I enjoyed what ideas or what plots they were going to come up with. The back and forth between Mulder and Scully, David Duchovny, Gillian Anderson, I thought they worked very well together. It was a show that I thought was rather smart. And yeah, it would get irritating after a while that so many of episodes would not have a finite ending. And I can understand that, but maybe I just got used to it. And it was more about the exploration than the final result. But there were times where they did succeed. Quite a few times, which was nice. Of course, being the first episode, this is the start of the mythology, which, to be honest, I'm the guy that much prefers the standalone episodes more than the mythology, because the mythology just went off course so many times that I dare someone to try to make from point A to point Z and connect all the dots. Just try. It will be impossible to try to connect every fucking thing, because they retcon and retcon shit. No, this didn't happen. That really happened, but that didn't happen. No, this happened. What they should have done, they should have ended the mythology long ago and then just start a new mythology. Like, end the story, and then there could always be another story, another backstory, another thing to tell that could be the basis of your mythology. If you don't know how to, just end it and then create a new one, while also going on with different standalone episodes. I think that's what they should have done. They should have ended it with the movie, the first movie, wrapped everything up, and then that way, when the next season comes up, you're like, okay, what's going to happen next? Because now we have all these places we can go. And I like the first X-Files movie, but again, I think they should have, because it's the movie, really finish things off in a big bang way, and then see what direction it takes when you come back, hopefully, to that TV show on the Fox network. But I like the look of the show. This is when they were in Vancouver, and they definitely had a darker atmospheric setting with the woods, and especially with when they filmed in the forest, in the woods. It just felt like it's a show that felt like it belonged shooting in a place like where they shot in Vancouver, because it just had that feel to it that kind of complemented the darker aspects of these shows. And I like the dialogue between the two characters. Nobody down here but the FBI's most unwanted. Or when convention and science offers us no answers, might we finally turn to the fantastic as a plausibility. And this is when Chris Carter actually knew what he was doing. And Mark Snow, who did all the music for the X-Files, he was a strong, important part of the show. Not just because of the theme, but so many moments on the show were amplified and made even creepier, more emotional because of his score. Like, Mark Snow is an essential part of the show, as well as the pilot. He did a great job on the score. I would say easily one of the best scores of a TV show is Mark Snow's contribution. And yeah, you got the fun banter and friendship growing between these two, even from the pilot. Yeah, the answers are there. You just have to know where to look. And then Mulder goes, well, that's why they put the I at FBI. And you get little remnants of the characters. Like, Mulder tells a little bit of his story about what happened to his sister when he was a kid, which was an interesting part of Mulder's character, that this belief that his sister was abducted, and that's what really got him. And to go, like, what really happened here? Although I don't think here he thought she was abducted by aliens. I think that would come later. It was more, she was taken, he doesn't know what really happened. But then again, with that storyline, they went into all these different something, how did it result? Remember the Moby one that was at the end credits. She was taken with this, like, people took her and then she died and there was her ghost. I'm on this field at night with Mulder and they hug and I'm like, so did it have to deal with aliens? It did, really? I didn't. For some reason they couldn't follow through on their mythology stuff. That's kind of the irritating thing when you rewatch these episodes is Chris Carter, who I call fucking Chris Farter now, because he fucking stinks it up. This place stinks. He didn't know how to follow through on so many of these arcs. It's irritating. And then when you watch these last 2 seasons, because they're not going to do any more X-Files, because they fucked up so badly, you had your chance and you blew it. You had your chance to do a reboot. And I knew there was reason to worry. And people were like, oh, but you don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, that's why no one fucking talks about these goddamn reboots. These retcons. Yeah, they made such a fucking impact that no one fucking noticed it was on. Yeah, it was such a great impact on a show that was one of the biggest shows of the entire fucking decade. One of the biggest shows of all time. And when it came back, especially for season 10, then season 11, no one gave a fuck. That's how great Chris Carter took care of it. Good job, buddy, you butthead, buttfuck, fuckhead. Chris Carter, you had your time and then you fucked up. And you should have had someone else do it. Someone who knew what the fuck they were doing. Even back, I liked season 7, 8, 9 for what they are, but that's really when you started, like, that's where the whole thing with Mulder's sister, that's how you don't end that story. There's moments I like, but then there's, like, that's the end that's disappointing. And when you go with X-Files, it's not an action-packed show. But it's nice to see the weird stuff that happens, even in the pilot, where they lost time, 9 minutes or so, and Scully's like, how the hell, that's impossible. It's a universal variant, time just can't disappear. Then Mulder goes, not in this zip code. They get some evidence, they find a body that they think is a weird body, they realize it's a body, like, of a chimpanzee skeleton. Is like, well, how the hell did that get in a coffin? And the evidence gets burned up, so there's someone working behind them, fucking with them. And that thing that would happen so many times where Mulder would see something but Scully wouldn't. So Mulder would see these kids apparently abducted, but Scully would just see a light. She was far behind in the woods, so she doesn't exactly know what happened. And that was an interesting concept. You have a believer and you have a skeptic. What would happen if a believer and a skeptic have to work together to work on these cases? If I understand Gillian Anderson, she was based on, some of her characters was based on Jodie Foster's character from Silence of the Lambs, which I didn't see that. The show was based on Kolchak the Night Stalker, which I love that show. I wish it had a second season. Darren McGavin did a fantastic job. I reviewed that show for those interested. It's on the channel. I love Kolchak. So I just see why Chris Carter would be a fan. And yeah, Mark Snow, the music, like, I thought this was a very solid pilot that made me interested to see what would happen next. Well, glad I already knew because I saw Darkness Falls and other episodes, but I'm just saying if I was someone who did not know any of this, I would be interested. Not saying you would, but I would be interested. Government conspiracies, cover-ups, Sarah Smoky Man puts a piece of metal that a bunch of others are there too, and this place that looks like where they put the fucking Ark of the Covenant and the Pentagon. But as an interest, this was 1993 or so when this debuted. So we're really delving into not trusting the government. Hell, we don't trust the government now, but that's definitely a big thing back then. Honestly, always, if you think about it, we never trust the government. So it was a great premise. And they pulled it off very well. It's good looking for a TV show. And that's hard to say, like one of my favorite episodes. There's so many. I like Squeeze and Tombs, two-parter. I like Ice. I like Detour. I like... What's the one I'm thinking of? I always forget the name. The one that's like Chainsaw Massacre. Home. I like this one called Monday, which is take off Groundhog Day. Like serious version of Groundhog Day. Darkness Falls, I enjoy. There's a lot of episodes I enjoy. There's some clunkers in there. The one with the fucking cats, I forget what the fuck that was called. Where you think it's like some animal, some tiger, and then it's like a bunch of fucking cats. And like, what the fuck? This ain't Strays. Timothy Busfield. So there are clunkers like every show, but overall I love the atmosphere, the score. I really like the two leads. I think they work very well together. And you see there's chemistry there. I like the fact that for a good chunk of it, they were not a couple. To be honest, they never should have been a couple. They should have just been friends to this day. I think that would be more interesting. I think that would be more satisfying to be that off the beaten path. Even the moonlighting thing. Bruce Willis' moonlighting thing. They were interesting when they weren't a couple. Then when they were a couple, it was less interesting. Go figure. But yeah, pilot for the X-Files, I think it's a good one. I mean, considering you compare it to other pilots of other shows, this isn't too bad. This isn't too bad at all. So, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.